Okay, so now let's get started with the look of love. And what you'll notice is in step one, right, I've created some sheet music for you, and it says step one. And what you're going to notice is that you're going to see a lot of blank in the bass clef in the left hand. All right? And the reason for that is this pretty much is like a lead sheet right here. The only difference is that I have a left hand, I have the bass clef staff there, so you could write in your own arrangement if you want using this step one. I also gave you 4 measures up front if you want to put together like an introduction or something. Right? But where I like to start is I like to kind of do like a discovery of the song and the lead sheet and all of that before I get into creating an arrangement. Because obviously I have to have a general idea of the song before I could just go ahead and start creating the arrangement. So I want you to imagine that this is like a lead sheet. You're opening up a fate book, you're looking at a lead sheet. Now what do you do? All right? So the first thing is, if you haven't gone through my step-by-step standards or my boot camp on My Funny Valentine, My Romance, those lessons, those are all good lessons to explain the whole step-by-step standards approach that I've created, right? And basically, I'm just going to go through the steps real quickly right now. The first step is, and it can either be in 4 steps or 5 steps. I should let you know that right away, okay? So let me explain the 5 steps, all right? And then you'll see how the 4 steps make sense. 5 steps is the first thing that you do is you just work through the melody in the right hand. That's step 1, okay? So I would just play through the melody. All right, and then even right now, I'm not even worried so much about the rhythm. All right, I'm just trying to get all the notes. All right, and then what I would focus on is I would focus on my fingering, okay? Especially stuff like this, where it's like, okay, so I have this, I'm going to have to jump up, so I'll lift up. I get to something like this, what am I going to do? I'll just go right back down, lift my hand. And so I work through my fingering and figure out what fingering is going to work for me. Now, before I go on, you might say, well, wait a second, I'm going to sing the melody. I really could care less about playing the melody. Please, 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 still play the melody. Why is that important? It's important because, one, you just make sure that you are playing the melody and singing accurately. Sometimes when you sing, you do it by ear, and it's like, oh, wait a second, I didn't know that it went there. All right, I thought it did something else. You never know when you may need to play the melody as well. Okay, you might have a sore throat someday. You might not be able to sing. You might have laryngitis, whatever it is, and you still have to perform this song. Maybe you're going to go do a gig or whatnot. So knowing the melody is important for that reason as well. It's also important because it helps you to improvise over the song and also create introductions and endings. Right? And of course, last of all, being able to play the melody gives you a much better sense of the song, okay? Like now you're actually playing the melody, and you're going to get a much better sense of the song and get deeper into the song. Okay, so step 1 is just work through the melody in the right hand. Now step 2 is play roots in the left hand, melody in the right hand. Okay, now I said to you that there was a 5 or 4 step, okay? 5 steps is, step 1 is play the melody, all right? And step 2 is play the melody along with roots in the left hand. If you want to get rid of that step 1 of just playing the melody, usually what I do is I combine them together into step 1. So in other words, step 1 would be melody in the right hand, roots in the left hand. Okay? But if you feel as though, hey, I need a little bit more work with this melody before I try adding something in the left hand, then you should do that as step 1. Okay, so now let me talk as though I'm going through the 4-step process. So step 1 is melody in the right hand, and I do roots in the left hand. And this is great for me to be able to hear the song and kind of get an idea of what the harmony is going to sound like. Now, you'll notice on this sheet, I have some chords on like on a kind of an upper plane, all right? This is measure 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, measure 19, the C minor 7, all right, to C minor 7 to F, to F7. okay, rather than just F major 7. When those chords are on that upper plane there, that means that you could play those chords or the ones below, all right? I'll get into that more in the arrangement. All right, so playing the melody along with the roots in the left hand. Now, if you want to, what you could do is you could also play just quarter notes in the left hand and kind of get the whole right hand, left hand, hands together thing going on. So do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. Now this is especially useful when you get down like measure 18, 17, measure 16. Oops. All right, so you see how just playing those quarter notes allows me to get my hands together and get the rhythm together. I know a lot of you might skip a step like that, but you could see how powerful that step is because now you really get to feel that syncopation. Remember, when you have like that G minor 7 / C, C is the root note that you're going to be playing, okay? Because that's your slash chord, G minor 7 with C in the bass. All right, so that's step 1. Step 2 is when we would do our chord shells in the left hand. All right. Step 3, and remember the chord shells could be root 7 or root 3. All right, it's up to you to decide which ones you want. All right. A lot of times you might find like if you're going like the C minor 7 to F7, I would do root 7 and then root 3. Oops. The G minor 7 over C, I just did this. You can just do still keep the 7th of the G minor, and I just bring the root note up to C. Okay. So that's step 2. Step 3 is when we add in the 3rd or 7th underneath the melody. Okay, so that's this. So I have my root 7 here, so let me bring the 3rd in. I could do it again. I could bring the 7th in there. Why the 7th there? Why not the 3rd? Okay, well, I already did the 3rd, right? So now this time, I'm going to do the 7th. Has a little bit of change there. I could bring the 3rd in there as well if I wanted to. Here, A minor 7. See the 3rd in there? Remember, whole step is fine away from the melody. Half step away from the melody is not fine. A7, sus, 4, right? Right, so let's just go through that for a second, because this is an important step. My measure numbers are not written in here, so let me just write in some measure numbers quick. So 16, 15. Okay, so if you take a look at, say, measure 11, all right, so the B flat major, and then A7 sus, so I have the sus 4, measure 13, I go down to the 3rd, right, because that's an A7, and then now I'm back in measure 14, D minor. Here's my sus. So you see how I'm just moving that one little note in there, the sus 4 down to the 3rd, and then now I go down to the B flat major, major 6. I was playing 7th before. I actually like the sound of the 7th as well, but anyway, B flat major 6, and then go to the minor. I'm sorry. Now here, this is interesting. What about this? Should I do this? Should I put the 3rd down there? Or the 7th? Okay, doesn't sound very good, does it? Okay? So instead what I would do is if I have too much tension like that, right, with the third or the seventh, I'll put the fifth in there. The reason that that's tense is because this is actually Burt Bacharach. He likes to do these melodies that are really deep and dense with the harmony. Okay, so this is not a typical thing, but he's such a fantastic writer. He gets away with doing this kind of stuff. You see, that's really a sus4 on that major seventh. So that's why if you put the third in there, you're going to get that half step. Okay, all right. So that's step 2. So now we've gone through step 1, step 2. If you have not done that kind of stuff, all right, on the arrangement, I suggest that you do that. All right. Actually, I'm sorry. We went through step 1, 2, and 3. I'm not going to bother to do step 4 because that will get into the arrangement. Right. Step 4 is where we start to add in the nines and other tensions underneath the melody note. Okay. So again, let me just summarize this for you. I know this kind of went on for a while, but this is really, really important when you're approaching a fake book and a lead sheet. Okay, it's all wrapped up right here in this chapter for you. Right. The first thing is just start by playing through the melody. Then put in your roots in the left hand just to get a general sense of how the melody flows. You know, do the quarter notes in the left hand just so you can get the left-right hand rhythm together. Right. Then you can add in your sevenths and then bring in the third or the seventh or the fifth, like I showed you in that measure 18 there. Okay. So bring in one of those chord tones underneath with your thumb of your right hand. All right. Do that. And now, what you have at the end of step 3 is basically an arrangement that would sound like this. You can do something like that if you wanted to. Put the third in there, or the seventh. And remember, I'm moving my fingers just so you can really see what I'm doing. Now here, when it just says F, a lot of times I would try the F major 7. I like that sound. See, I could bring the third in for the G minor, but the root here is the C. Okay? So now the next step is to now start to add some rhythm to this. Okay? But that is the basic shell of the arrangement. So before I show you my arrangement, I want you to just get that down. Just start to understand that. Melody, roots, try and bring in the root 7 or root 3 in the left hand, and then try and fill in that, that third or seventh below the melody. Okay? Work on that, and I'll see you in the arrangement. Thanks for taking a look at this video. If you'd like to be notified the next time I release free content on YouTube, you can click on the subscribe button on this page. It's absolutely free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, if you'd like to study with me for free for 30 days, click on the Piano Success Playbook in the bottom left-hand side, and you'll get 30 days of lessons absolutely free of charge. I look forward to working with you in the next lesson.